In this video, I'm going to be showing you some creative sampling techniques. You don't just have to use the sounds that you get included in your membership out of the box. You can flip them a little bit. I've opened up Loopcloud Sounds and I've opened up a collection that I made in advance for the purposes of showing you these techniques. I'm going to play this first sample, which is an electric guitar. So yeah, a nice cool little funky riff there. I'm going to drag that into Bitwig. I've purchased it in advance, as you can see, but yeah, normally you just have to click there to spend a point. You can drag it straight in. I'm going to duplicate this guitar just so we can compare it with the one that I'm going to chop up in a minute later on. The first thing I'm going to show you can do in pretty much any DAW. I'm just going to chop up the sample a little bit, do a little bit of reversing, do a little bit of pitching, and we'll end up with a new melody, which I find more interesting. First things first, I'm just going to chop the chords out of this melody and just bring it all together like so. And I'm just going to loop the first 2 bars for the purposes of this explanation. So now you can hear just straight away with the chords taken out. Let's hear what that's done to the sound. So it retains that funky feel, but it sets the timing off a little bit and just gives it a different context. Next up, I'm going to show you how to apply a bit of reversing. I'm going to bounce this region in place just so it doesn't move around once I've reversed it. Just bounce it in place like so, just right click and bounce in place. Then we click on this clip section and reverse, and voila, you can hear that that chord is now reversed. I'm just going to apply a little fade here, just so we don't get any of that clicking we were getting a second ago. So you can hear that's also mashed up the sound a little bit, which is cool. I'm also going to show you how to pitch a region of sound as well, which allows us to edit the melody that's already existing. This can be useful if you've already got a melody going on in your head, but the sample isn't quite matching what's going on in your track. So I'm just going to pitch that one region up by 3 semitones, and now you can hear the effect it's had on the loop. So yeah, just using a few simple tools, you're able to recontextualize the sample and come out with quite a different result. Next up, I'm going to show you how to do a bit of processing, another way of being a bit creative with your sounds and samples. I'm going to use a great plugin that's included in your membership called Lifeline Console, and it's by Excite Audio. This is a great plugin if you want to emulate hardware and put your sounds into a different sonic space. So I'm just going to open up a quick preset for you, and it's called Vinyl Guitar, which is helpful because it's going on a guitar. So straight away you'll hear the effect this is having. The key takeaway of this is it's applying some pitch modulation and emulating some of the physical wear of the format of vinyl as well. So you're getting that kind of old wonky feeling to it. It's also applying a little bit of EQ, compression, and a preamp as well for a bit of a distorted effect. What you end up with is quite a nice vintage sounding result. And yeah, again, I think it's quite a cool way to recontextualize the sounds that you're working with. Great, so now we've had a listen to the guitar. I'm gonna move on to doing some stuff with some drums for you. I'm going to open up Loopcloud Sounds again, and let's have a listen to this drum sample. So a nice little housey breakbeat, quite cool. I'm just going to drag this straight into Bitwig once again. Obviously, you could chop and screw this manually as we did with the guitar. You could apply whatever chops you can hear in your head when you first hear that sample. That's absolutely fine. However, if you're looking for a way to achieve an instantly quite wacky effect, I'm going to show you a great plugin, again, included in your membership called Breadslicer. I'm going to activate this straight away, and you'll hear the effect that it's having on the sound. So it gives you that like quite cool IDM type chopping, quite similar to something like Square Pusher or Aphex Twin if that's your bag. So the gate is the size of each chop, and you can use it to make it a little bit more precise. Next up, you can affect the chance of the chop being reversed. So if I pull this up to 100, it makes it pretty much 100% likely that it will be reversed. So yeah, that's a pretty intense way of showing you that. So you can hear a little bit of bit crushing going on there, really cool. Next up, the pitch control. You also have the pan control, and again, the same as the reverse and effects and pitch, it's just affecting the likelihood of this effect being applied. And finally, we have the roll control. So I'm just going to set these to basically some quite random amounts, and then I'm going to bounce this audio region. Now I have that bounced in place, I no longer have to rely on the randomization of Breadslicer, so you can hear the result here. So I now have a loop I can work with, and I can even chop it up more if I feel like it. So I hope that was helpful to you. Those were some creative sampling techniques for you to try out yourself.